All right, we're here to talk about the new N-scale Paragon 3 GE AC6000. And I'm opening this up showing you this memo where for stock numbers 3424 to 3433 there may be a problem. Now I received one of these, it was 3433, and I had no problem with it. But I just received, because I wanted a pair of these, this guy, and as you can see it's 3432, so it's in the range of potential issues. Now they say the issue only occurs in DCC operation, and this is, as you can see, if you go to Broadway Limited you can find that. In fact, I'll just show you how to find it here. We'll open up a new page and we're just on the toolbar here. Sorry, I'm holding this handheld and trying to type, and so it's taking, actually the easiest way is I just do this, BLI N scale in my search, hit enter, and I get N-scale Broadway Limited imports right here popping up. So I'll click on that button, and then there's some stuff here. Let's go to, that's the refurb took me to. Let's go to home. You can see October 3rd support bulletin. There we go. And there's a video, I never bothered with that. I went download the complete technical support bulletin. And when I do that, I'm back at this. Now I'm just going to scroll through here. And I'm going to go through this. So this shows how to remove the shell. And it goes through various steps here, la 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 la. And then we get down to this example page. And on the example page, they show the decoder here. And they show this chip in question. And they say this is this one is a bad one. It's got a TNGN8, and this is a good one. It says AAAN6 on it. So that's what I'm going to be looking for, and I'll go through the process. I'll take it apart. I'll show you where the chip is, and at the same time I'm going to swap out the couplers to a little bit longer shaft one. Anyway, I'll show you all that. Okay, now over to the workbench. There you can see this. Let's just zoom you in a little bit more. So for the unboxing, you've probably seen different unboxing. There's some stuff for their shoes. There's a thing here that is a limited 1-year warranty. If you double check on the site, I believe they've now changed that to 2 years because of the problems. Here's an exploded view. Here's the operator's manual. It's quite useful, I found, because it has all of the CVs in it as far as sound and that goes. Nice packaging here. I'll remove the top foam. Inside we have this. So let's move this out of the way, and now you can see this. In order to get it apart, it's pretty simple. Push. There's a sleeve that doesn't always easily come off, but comes off. There's a silica gel packet. As a side note, somebody said save all these, put them in a waterproof container, and then if you ever need to dry anything out, you've got a bunch of silica gel. I don't. Mine just went in the trash. Now, in order to open this up, there is a piece that you just pull like this. And this whole piece of plastic comes out. This locomotive only goes in one way. You can tell because there's a little triangle piece right there that goes to the nose. So now I just pull off the plastic and I pull the locomotive out. I got an extra piece of plastic on the bottom there, but I don't need any of that at this point. when you look at the locomotive up close, you can see all the detailing on that, and that's one of the reasons I bought them, because there is a lot of detailing. They're really quite nice locomotives. I have a little spongy to work on, so we'll put the locomotive in the little spongy. Now we're going to zoom in a little bit more. We'll try and make sure we keep everything centered here. And you grab your smallest Phillips that you have, because you're going to take off the front and rear couplers, and the screw is very close to the front and rear, so you need one that's relatively thin here. So we'll do the rear one first. Put it in, unscrew it, and then what I'll do, in order to pull this screw out, rather than trying all sorts of things to pull it, I'll pull up on it with a pair of tweezers and keep unscrewing, pull up, and it comes out. And then we'll put that down. This here just pulls out quite easily. And then this should just gently pull out the front as well. And I'm just going to check on something here. Yeah. So the next thing they do is they say to take the trucks off. Pull. Pull. Oh, note on the trucks when you take them off that there's an end here and a blunt end there. The blunt end goes to the outside in each case. So I've got these arranged how they're going to fit back on there. You can't see there. Let me zoom out. So you can see I got these arranged so the blunt ends will go out, which is the same way that I took them off of here. And I've got everything arranged there so that I can easily work on it. Now we'll go to the next step, which requires me to pull this over. Now they want you to take this hatch off the back, and it pulls up easily. You saw that, just pulling up on it is not difficult. But the difficult part is how it fits in right there. And so you've got to kind of worry it off. And once you do, it just comes off, looks like that. If you look inside, you can see there's slots here where it fits in, and there's a little clip under there. Now this part is the more difficult part, because what you want to do now is press down on here to start pushing things out to get it all off. I have a wider screwdriver here that I use for a little bit of leverage. I'll show you how. You don't want to mark anything up. Now I notice here I seem to have a little piece that came off. It's a little metal piece of some kind. I'm just going to put it aside. And now I dropped it somewhere. Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to take a quick look and see if I can see anything missing. And yes, I see I have a mirror missing. So we'll turn this guy. Oh, I found it. So the mirror came off, and I came out of my tweezers again, but that's the mirror. So we're going to super glue that back on at reassembly time. In the meantime, we'll just put it on there. And now to push this through, they say just to kind of hold it and push through on the middle part here. And so you try and find a leverage point. And as before, I didn't really find a good easy leverage point. So what I did is I went in here, and as I'm pushing, there, I just keep spreading these apart, and suddenly if you look here, you can see I got some distance. Now I can push further through on this. So there's two clips that hold it here and another two clips that hold it up near the front. So again, I do that while I'm pushing. Then once it's mostly through, just make sure by spreading it a little bit in various spots I can spread without damaging anything. Then a little bit of wiggle. Wiggle at the front, a little bit of pull, a little bit of wiggle. This here coupler sometimes catches in there a bit. Now, once you're to this stage, be careful because there's wiring that goes to the cab light. So, pull it out. You can hopefully see there's wiring there that goes down to there. There's wiring stuck underneath there. The wiring is a little bit coiled up. Note how it goes. You can't pull it all apart because of that wiring. I'm going to move the foam out of the way and put this board in. Now there are two, as I showed you before, areas you have to watch out for on here. I'll move this white wire, or try to move it out of the way a bit. And then this piece of tape has to be lifted up and over so that you can see. So I'm going to grab my tweezers here. Carefully lift that up. That whole thing comes out of the way. Now the chips are this guy here and this guy here. I can't tell right now, so I'm going to bring in a nice bright light. And the bright light is going to tell me that is a AAAN6 and that is a AAAN6. When you look at this, you see those two upside down L's. Immediately to the right are the two chips. If you look close, you'll see there's a AAAN6. It's really hard to see, but it's there, trust me. Okay, all that to say, when we do a close inspection of that chip and that chip, they're both the AAAN6, so they're the good chips. Now, it's just a matter of reassembly. So put the tape back down. That's not tough at all. Now, the only thing you need to think about is where was each of the wirings, and do I need to worry about any of that? The white wire was pretty much where the white wire wasn't quite on the edge, so we'll move it back there. This guy crumpled up in there a little bit. Now you do have to be careful about this wire. The reason you have to be careful is if it gets in the wrong spot, it can force this plate down a little bit, and you certainly don't want that plate forced down, because if it is, then this gets a little too low and it's hard to put stuff back together. Anyway, we'll start by that. We're just going to go ahead and move that wiring a little bit forward where I want it. And everything seems to be okay. Make sure nothing's pinching as I put stuff in. Continue pushing down on things. Everything seems to be okay. Okay, that's good there. It's a little low there. Oh, there's a nice click. That's okay. As promised, I said I was going to swap these couplers out. I find these are short and I need medium length, and I happen to have a package here of medium length. They're the 10/16s, these are the 10/15s. In order to do that, I have to assemble some because this is an unassembled pack, and cut these guys off. There's that one cut off. There's that one cut off. Take the little thing, put it in your pile of plastic, because you may want to use that at some time for a building or something. Now, to assemble, the easiest way of assembling, well, I'm going to try this way. This may not be the easiest way, I don't know. And you're not going to be able to see a lot. You put them together. I'll put stuff on this piece of wood. Put these guys back together again, the way I want them. I can use a pair of tweezers to hold that. Put it in there. Okay, the reason I wanted to do it this way is because it rests on that piece of wood. Now, gently grab a spring in a fashion, I'm going to take two out, that you don't lose it and you don't immediately recap it so you don't lose them all. The way I put these springs in is I grab one end and then I hold that like that, push it into where it's supposed to be, push down with my finger and gently take my finger off. I got it in okay. Grab this guy in the way it's supposed to be and put it on top. It snaps in. And you can make sure that the spring has gone in okay. Okay, so that's one assembled. I'll need to assemble another one and then I'll be back. Okay, so there's the guy we assembled. We also need to put the trip pins in. Well, they're optional, I guess, but I normally do. So pull out two trip pins. And I'll put one with the spring there. Now, trip pins, as you can see, they're trip pin looks like that. I don't know how well you can see it. There's a long end and a short end. The long end goes up into the coupler. How do you do that? I start it by hand. Now this is the reason I didn't do it first. If you do it first, then you can't lay this flat to assemble it. So I do it second. And I put my finger on the top, I put it up, worry it through to where the hole is, do a little bit of twisty-turny, and you'll find the spot where it wants to fit in. Okay? Once you've done that, then I have a pair of pliers that look like this. So they're serrated. So now I can grab this and push harder. And if I hold it firm, it can't go in any deeper than the pliers because the pliers hit the bottom. And then in addition, I have this, which has a little hole in the end, so I can push it through like that. Every time you push, make sure it feels okay. Now, the only way you're going to know that it's in the right is by using a gauge once it's all together. Anyway, that's the first one assembled. So now I'm just going to go ahead and assemble the other one and then we'll install them. Okay, so here's the two new couplers. I'll mute mute that in the background. Here's the two new couplers. Here's the two old couplers. Now, probably from where you're seeing, you can't tell any difference, so we will zoom in. Of course, where we're zooming in, and then they disappear. What's that all about? Okay. So, I don't know if you can tell from that angle. There's a new coupler. I gotta look to be close. Okay, what I'm gonna do is this way. Once I look close I can tell, but... Okay, so new coupler, old coupler, 1015, 1016, both micro trains. If you look, it's a little bit longer in here, that's a little bit shorter, and if you actually take the couplers side by side, stand them up on their ends, if I can do this. There, the two are stood up on their ends, and you'll see that this guy is taller than this one. It's not a lot, but it's a... We're going to start with the front coupler, because I've had problems with it in the past. And we're going to just slide it in. It does indeed just slide in. When it does, still get coupler action. Be careful doing up these screws, because if they're too tight, the couplers won't work. So now we just screw this guy in. Okay, and that's a little off center, so we'll center it. The coupler's a little bit tight, so just loosen it a little. We've got good coupler action. Is that verifying that it's at exactly the position I want? I think it's a little bit off, so we'll just turn that. Okay. Okay, so now the coupler works well. Both directions, moves, doesn't bind. Now we'll do the rear coupler. I'm searching for something I have. I have some conductive oil, and I'm just going to put the conductive oil on each of these contact points here, just to help things out a little bit. On the last one I put conductive oil all in the trucks. I took them apart, but I'm not going to do that unless I have connection issues. Drop of oil, drop of oil, drop of oil. That's all you want. That's probably more than I want, but... Okay, put the cap back on that so when I knock it over I don't spill it. And then remember how we got these off? You just do the reverse and you push them on and push them on. And then the last thing to do is put this cab back on. And I'm just checking everything out. Everything looks fine. You need to worry it in a little. I'm going to remove my little sponge here. A little bit more brute force than I'd like here, but... Oh, and then it just pops in and down. So the only thing left, if you remember, is I had a mirror come off. So I'll get my super glue. I use this table for soldering and a bunch of other stuff. I don't tend to use it for model building, so my super glue's at a different table. There's a hole in there. Oh, I'll take a look at where it goes here. I see where it's supposed to go there. I'm going to just touch the other one. The other one's okay. Now I'm going to grab these guys because I don't want it, sorry, these guys, pinch style, because I don't want it coming off the pliers. So carefully put it in the pliers where I want it. Drop a super glue, put the model on its side, insert the window, and release that, and then just make sure that window's mirror's inserted how I want. Give it a little rocky motion. Okay. Now we're going to carefully let that dry, and while we are, we're going to bring in a section of track here. We'll try this rail. It's not my favorite, but we'll try it. Throw the loco on. Okay, and now we'll measure the trip pin at the back. And it's great. We'll measure the coupler height. And it fits perfectly. We'll now look at the front. Trip pin is lots of clearance. Coupler height is also perfect, and it couples perfectly. So the only thing I notice on the back here is this is the coupler pin is within spec, but just barely. So, and when it comes down, this part is down a little lower, so it could catch. So I want to bend that more like a J, not that extreme, of course. To do that, I have these pliers, which have a round bit in that, and I'll just put it on and give it a little tiny squeeze just to make it more of a J shape on the back. And while I'll do this on camera, you're not going to be able to see it worth a darn. But I can see that I did it. Okay, so here's a picture of it on the track. And what I'm going to do that you can't see over here is I'm going to start up JMRI because that's what I use to identify everything. And JMRI is a whole different thing. So going to my roster, going to new loco, I'm on the programming track. I'm going to do matched only and retype from decoder. So this is and you see what happens as it's reading. And it's found a Paragon 3 diesel. And this is a just typing in my roster, enter AC6000 and the number on the side. Now that here, I'll move it back so you can see it. Because every time I read, it's going to do that, is 7512. So I do this for my roster, and it has a long address of 7512. DC conversion, I'm going to disable it because I don't run DC, or I don't run my DCC locomotives on DC, and then I'm going to save this. And then we'll read the back again. Okay, so everything looks good on that. Now, I'm going to go to my console. I'm going to turn the lights on. You likely saw the light go on. I'm going to... let's see what else works. Nothing works till it starts moving, so I'm going to go to speed step 1. And you can now do it. I have a quotable way of playing the horn here because I'm using a neutral system. Sorry, I just couldn't get enough of that. Well, now once it's above speed step 3, the cab light will go out. And it moves. And if I go backwards, it will, cab light goes on, stops, rear light goes on. Now I'm going to do a couple of laps around my layout here with this, just to make sure it's working okay. And I think I'll go forward, so otherwise I'll run out of track really fast. I'll just pump up the speed a little bit. So you can see that it's running around and through the tunnel, which is a speedometer, which I got turned off. I'll turn it on, so from a max speed perspective, these aren't really fast. They're prototypical, but they're not as speedy as, say, a cattle or something like that would be. So 132 mile an hour. Although that, yeah, so runs around fine. Actually, that's 135 now, and it's kilometers per hour. So that's 3, 6 is 18. That's just a little under 80. And we'll come around here. 140, okay. You can hear the brakes going in reverse now. Reverse light comes on. It's going to take a while to pick up speed. So that's how to take apart the AC6000 as per the instructions. Check on that chip to make sure you've got a good chip, AAA N6, that's all documented on there. And then to reassemble it, it also showed you how to change out the couplers, and that'll help you depending on your radii. As I say, going on around a radius of 12 3/8, which is a standard cattle starter step, that it didn't like that, and there was a bit of derailment because of the coupler. And the standard cattle engines with a little bit longer coupler made it fine, so I think that'll work. I just need to do more testing on it. And I have another one of them that I've already worked on, so once this guy gets broken in, I'll be able to consist the two of them together and should be able to drive some longer locomotives. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye.